Welcome to the CBA CLE Solo Small Firm Institute On-Demand Library. Thank you for joining us. Please claim CLE credit for this on-demand session using the Home Study Affidavit. Credits can be claimed at cletrack.com. This presentation is the future of legal services. Learn how to leverage legal service plans to complement your practice. This will be presented by Chris Ward. I would like to introduce Sarah Keeney, who will introduce today's speaker.
Welcome. My name is Sarah Keeney. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Fears Not Chawati. I'm introducing today Chris Ward, who I consider a dear friend, but most importantly, colleague. Chris and I have worked together for many years in the legal plan space. And with my career being significantly based in working with legal plans all across the board, it makes it very easy to introduce and share with you Chris Ward.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate you. And for those of you that don't know Sarah, I mean, she's just not only an incredible attorney, but just has an impeccable integrity. And I appreciate you as a dear friend as well. And it's been great working for you. So thank you for that kind introduction. So welcome everybody again to the future of legal services. I appreciate you taking the time out to learn about what is revolutionizing the way legal services are being delivered in this country and across North America forever. And so a little bit about my background, just so you know who's talking to you, is I am not an attorney. I have over 12 years experience working with Legal Shield and never got a college degree. So I appreciate you all and all the hard work that you've done to go through law school and into your practice, because I understand business ownership. And that's how I was kind of introduced to Legal Shield. So my background was I was actually U.S. Army. I served proudly for 11 years. And I was at that transition point in my life, not unlike most of you, where you knew you were ready for some change. And that was the way I was. So after into my 11th year in the Army, I knew I was getting out. And I was applying for jobs here, there, and everywhere. And over my 11 years of military service, I'd actually had 4 years of that spent overseas. I speak 2 other languages besides English, and some debate whether I speak good English. But I thought I was going to walk into a 6-figure job wherever I'd applied. And reality kind of hit hard. I realized that I was living in the city of Monterey, California at the time. And so I was kind of forced into business ownership. I decided to follow a childhood dream of mine, which was to start a video production company. And right at that time, I resurrected a defunct jazz record label. And we did everything that you as a solo or a small firm has run into, is that you are passionate about your practice and you've spent enough time and definitely money to get licensed, However, there's all areas of business that you may not be familiar with. So we hired a video or a graphic design artist to actually go out and design the logo and build out our website for our company. We hired a CPA to do our books. And then we also hired an office administrator to maintain the day-to-day operations. And we also hired an attorney. We hired an attorney. He's a good friend of mine still today out in California. He charged us a $10,000 retainer. And he was $400 an hour. And I was naive because outside of being in the military, when we got our wills done through the U.S. Army, through the Judge Advocate General's office, I'd really had no other experience in using an attorney. And so I was naive. And we had the attorney draft a comprehensive contract for one of our clients. And I got an invoice for $1,500. And I was like, wow, this isn't even going to last us through the summer. And when you're a startup business, you're operating on a shoestring budget. So I did what a lot of Americans do. Found myself, even though I had him on retainer, I tried to handle all the nickel and dime legal situations myself. I was out Google searching legal questions. I was asking friends and family for advice. I was downloading legal documents, and I can admit to it now. I wouldn't have admitted to it then, but I was actually writing contracts from boilerplates that I had discovered and writing contracts for clients, just hoping to God that they would never actually end up on a judge's table. And then it was about 8 months into my business that I was introduced to Legal Shield, the company that I represent today. And prior to that, I had never heard of legal service plans. And I really just thought it was a brilliant approach to accessing high quality, affordable legal services. And so as I started my company, a year and a half later, I did lose it to a fault of none of my own. However, I fell back and just went full-time working for Legal Shield, and I've been there now since 2007. In 2012, we expanded out into the Colorado marketplace. Legal Shield's been in Colorado since 2001 now. But I came out here in 2012 to help expand the business. And so now I'm the state director for the company. I also am a public speaker. I'm a political activist. I work on a whole slew of different cases, from social justice, environmental justice, Native American rights, women's rights, so on and so forth. And I pride myself as an entrepreneur as well, and being an asset to the business community to help them navigate a lot of the pitfalls that you as a solo practitioner or a small firm have probably run into. And so what you're going to learn about from this talk today is you're going to learn about what are legal service plans. We're going to talk about the 2016 American Bar Association Commission's findings on the Future of Legal Services report. And I still run into attorneys. I've done presentations for different groups from the Colorado Bar Association, and it's often when I bring up this report, I get a bunch of rolling eyes because they have no idea what I'm talking about. But I've done the work for you, so I'll share that information. We're also going to learn about the top 5 legal service plan companies that are available on the market today. We're going to talk about learning how to leverage these companies in order to generate leads for your practice. And we're also going to talk about how you can learn to generate additional revenue stream for your practice by offering legal service plans to that percentage of the population that may not be able to afford your services. So we're going to dive right in. Legal service plans, what are they? How do we define legal service plans? Well, legal service plans are a membership subscription to a varying suite of legal services covered under a flat month-to-month or sometimes annual fee. All right. These suite of services vary from company to company, and the prices vary as well. But legal service plans exist under the current American Bar Association's model rules of professional conduct. The plans are designed to inform potential plan members generally of another means of affordable legal services. Meanwhile, today's Rule 7.3 states a lawyer may participate with a prepaid or group legal service plan operated by an organization not owned or directed by the lawyer that uses in-person or telephone contact to solicit memberships or subscriptions to the plan. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Also, a lawyer's participation with a legal service plan is not a fee split nor a violation of Rule 1.5e of the Colorado Rules of Professional Conduct under prohibiting referral fees. So I get that objection every once in a while when I present legal service plans to attorneys. They're concerned about this being an ethics violation. So I can assure you that the information you're listening to tonight will not be a violation of your rules there. So here's the picture of the report of the future of legal service in the United States. And it has a great forward, a quote by the former ABA president, William Hubbard, who says, "We must open our minds to innovative approaches and to leveraging technology in order to identify new models to deliver legal services. Those who seek legal assistance expect us to deliver legal services differently. It is our duty to serve the public and it is our duty to deliver justice, not just to some, but to all." And I think that all of us recognize the fact that it has been historic in the fact that we've constantly tried to close the gap on the people that need access to legal services and the people that are providing them. So here are some of the commission's findings, and I apologize to you for reading this out to you. I could just leave it up on the screen, but I'll save you the work. And so here were the findings by this commission. So public trust and confidence in obtaining justice and in accessing legal services is compromised by bias, discrimination, complexity, and lack of resources. The legal profession does not yet reflect the diversity of the public, especially in positions of leadership and power. 2, bias, both conscious and unconscious, impedes fairness and justice in the legal system. Number 3, The complexity of the justice system and the public's lack of understanding about how it functions undermines the public's trust and confidence. Number 4, the criminal justice system is overwhelmed by mass incarceration and overcriminalization coupled with inadequate resources. 5, federal and state governments have not funded or supported the court system adequately, putting the rule of law at risk. Now, you remember this is a 2016 report, but I believe that you and I could agree that these are the same findings if they were to go out there and look today. So despite sustained efforts to expand the public's access to legal services, significant unmet needs persist. Most people living in poverty and the majority of modern income individuals do not receive the legal help they need. The public often does not obtain effective assistance with legal problems either because of insufficient financial resources or a lack of knowledge about when legal problems exist that require resolution through legal representation. What this is saying here is simply put that people sometimes are going through a situation that they don't even deem as a legal situation. The vast number of unrepresented parties in a court adversely impacts all litigants, including those who have representation. You've probably seen this in court a time or two. Many lawyers, especially recent law graduates, are unemployed or underemployed despite the significant unmet need for legal services. The traditional law practice business model constrains innovations that would provide greater access to and enhance the delivery of legal services. The legal profession's resistance to change hinders additional innovation. Limited data has impeded efforts to identify and assess the most effective innovations in legal service delivery. So this is what's referred to as cognitive dissonance. That's clinging to belief systems that no longer hold true. And a lot of times when I talk to college or graduates from law school, is typically because they didn't hear about these in law school, they must not be applicable, which I think you're going to find to be different. So I've already done the research for you. We're going to skip right to the section on prepaid legal service plans and insurance coverage. It's on page 29, and I'm going to show you the link at the end of this presentation so you can download this report for yourselves. I think it's an incredible resource for people to understand just kind of what's going on in the environment of delivery of legal services today. And again, I apologize, but I'll read this out to you. Group and prepaid legal service plans provide an efficient mechanism for matching clients in needs of services with lawyers. Group legal plans connect panels of lawyers with expertise in various areas and match them with plan member clients. Clients find a lawyer with the appropriate skills on the panel and, within the limits of the plan, receive the legal services they need. Lawyers often can establish a relationship with a client, and that same client may return to the lawyer to obtain different legal services that are at the lawyer's normal rate and that are not covered under the group or prepaid plan. Many lawyers are turning to prepaid legal service plans to supplement their work, if not their entire practice. And we're going to talk about this again later in the presentation as well. Clients pay a pre-established amount of money and in return are provided with needed legal services at no additional cost. Examples of prepaid legal services include, but are not limited to, review of simple legal documents, preparation of a simple will, and short letters or phone calls made by a lawyer to an adverse party. Legal insurance, similarly, can provide more affordable legal services while also helping individuals recognize when their problems have legal solutions. Now, I know I may already be losing you, so I just want to share with you a picture of a box of cute kittens. Get you back on track. So hope you're staying with me. I know I was really hoping to be there with you today in person, so you're going to have to settle with death by PowerPoint. So I wanted to let you know that this isn't my bias. This is actually listing by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, where they actually posted in this link the best online legal service companies. And so you see here, inkfile.com, Rocket Lawyer, LegalZoom, Legal Shield, and UpCounsel. Now, a little bit of history I want you to know is that prior to 1972, there was no such thing as legal service plans in North America. They did exist through a company or suite or host of companies out in Europe, but it was brought here. The concept of legal service plans was brought here in 1972. And over time, the field got very crowded. And so, and I'm not talking about the legal, like the attorney directories. That's completely different. I'm also not talking about the legal document download companies where they solely focus on just downloading legal documents. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about legal service plan companies. And we also have, as you see, it's the crowding, the field's getting crowded. So we have Biz Counsel, which focuses a lot on the small business owners. You also have ARAG North America, one of the companies that I said had already kind of pioneered the legal service plan industry in Europe. They largely focus on offering legal service plans as an employee benefit. And so I want you to keep an ear open as I continue on the presentation. So if you have commercial clients with employees, this may be a way that you can extend affordable legal services to your clients' employees. We also have Hyatt Legal, we have US Legal Services, and we have MetLife legal plans as well. But a lot of these are largely employee benefit, where the companies previously will offer to individuals, families, and business owners as well. So legal plans help you grow your practice and make money by establishing a volume of business. So in fact, the volume allows firms to develop a system to identify coverage, provide the covered service, deliver the service product, and get paid and close the matter. Firms have even adopted a billing profile for each client to help bring clarity to billing and alternative fee arrangements. Offering alternative fee arrangements for clients. These give the client the benefit of covered services while allowing a firm to provide additional non-covered services. So what they're saying is that even though the client, the member, is paying for a monthly or annual legal service plan, there may be certain legal services that are not provided under that plan. And as those plans change frequently, and we would be spending an extra hour here if I were to go through each company of what all their plans deliver. So I'm going to free you of that pain, but you can definitely look up all those companies. I'm going to share with you a resource to gain more information at the end. And then exposing the firm to numerous individuals they would have never met and opening the door to long-term client relationships. So the long-term benefits of being in a network. For one is you get more client referrals. In majority of these cases, where if you're one of the referral attorneys, if you're adopted into their network, this is, in most cases, free leads. You may have to accept a percentage of your hourly rate. You take at a discount, so it could be 25% in some cases, where you provide these services as a referral attorney within their network. You get repeat business, both people using the plan and not using the plan, because once you've worked with a client and you've delivered quality of services, now that person can call back and request you by name, or they may send a referral to somebody else who may call upon you. So you have outside client referrals as well. And then personally and professionally working with these companies, they often have some training that you don't get in law school, including customer service training, which is sometimes obligatory by some of these legal service plan companies when working with their members. So lawyers interested in supplementing their business with referrals can apply directly to the plans. So you can go to those companies individually if you like, or you can apply to all basically 13 legal service plan companies by joining the Group Legal Services Association and completing the universal application at glsaonline.org. I do not work for the GLSA. I do not get any referral benefits from you applying for that. It's just that you're interested, they're a great one-stop resource to learn about all of those plans as well. So I want to talk, and the primary focus of this too is what they alluded to in the American Bar Association report on the future of legal services is actually selling legal service plans in your marketplace. And so I really quickly wanted to share with you kind of what we did back in 2013. So we actually paid for or commissioned a report called The Legal Needs of American Families. And this was done by decision analysts. And give you a little more, I always love transparency. So to give you a little bit more information about this study, so this study was of full-time employees in the US, which was a study conducted over the internet. A national probability sample of males and females aged 18 to 64 was drawn from American Consumer Opinion Online, decision analysts worldwide panel of over 8 million consumers. The sample was balanced by geography and selected demographics such as gender, age, ethnicity, and household income. So the panelists were invited by email to the screening survey, and those employed full-time were invited to Decision Analyst DAI survey website to participate in the study. And so there was a total of 1,000 interviews that were completed online in 2013. And we've actually repeated this survey year after year, and we found basically the same results from the survey. And I'm going to share with you some of those results right now. And a lot of these are going to come as absolutely no shock to you at all. For one, first and foremost, is that many Americans go at handling legal services alone. So 93% of the respondents believe lawyers charge too much for their services, right? 76% of respondents said they were hesitant to call a lawyer for a multitude of reasons. For one is that they weren't sure if it was a legal situation they were dealing with. They weren't comfortable. They were afraid that the attorneys may be using legal jargon that they wouldn't understand. So they were just hesitant to talk to a lawyer in those regards. 9 out of 10 respondents said that if costs were more affordable, they would seek legal advice for even trivial issues, such as a traffic ticket or a review of a rental agreement. So 9 out of 10 people would seek legal advice if it were affordable. Now, one of the things that I didn't show you that appeared in this survey is that 1 out of 10 respondents wouldn't hire an attorney even if they were free. So when you run into those people, and you've heard these conversations, that when you bring up like talking to an individual about traffic court, as an example, and they'll say, "Oh, I've represented myself in traffic court, a dozen times, and I get out of every ticket." It's kind of I love the old adage, and I always share that with people, that a man or woman who represents themselves in court has a fool as a client. And if you haven't heard that, you can use that. That's free. 90% of Americans said they don't have any form of legal insurance or a legal protection service that could make getting qualified legal help easy and affordable. And there was a quote from, it was somebody within the American Bar Association. I wish I actually wrote it down, but they said that, simply put, 90% of Americans cannot afford to simply pick up the phone and talk to an attorney. More than 60% reported that they would be interested in purchasing legal protection. And I hope that as a solo or small firm, that you have your business hats on right now and thinking about the potential. So I want you to go back through these last two ones and think about this again. More than 60% reported that they would be interested in purchasing legal protection, meaning that they would pay for a monthly subscription service to get affordable access to legal representation. But get this, 15% reported that if these plans existed, they would enroll right away. 15%. That means 1 out of 10 people that learn about the legal service plans that I talked about will sign up at first glance. The reality is they don't know that it even exists. Now, I can't talk to the other companies, but I know with our company is that even though we've been around for over 47 years at this point, we still have less than a 2% market penetration. Even though we have provider law firms in all 50 states, in all provinces and territories in Canada, as well as in the United Kingdom, representing both England and Wales. So we still have less than 2% of the market even have a legal service plan. So that's a huge market that's available to you. So there's a couple things you got to understand about selling legal service plans as well. Is that, for one, is you cannot be a referral attorney for the company and sell that particular legal service plan. So whether that be LegalZoom or Legal Shield or any of the others, Rocket Lawyer, you can't sell the plan and be a referral attorney. So it's a conflict. And that just the companies won't allow you to do it. Now, I want you to ask yourself a few questions, all right? For one is, what percentage of the calls that you receive in which the prospective clients cannot afford you, live outside of your licensed state, or need help in an area of law in which you practice? Now, some attorneys that I've spoke with, it's greater than 50% of the calls that they receive, they're unable to help the person for one of these reasons here. So they either will, give their number to another attorney that they may know, or they will just let them go and just say, sorry, I can't help you, right? And the reality is that you probably could help them, they just couldn't afford you. So why not keep them as clients, right? With the legal service plan, one of the greatest benefits is that not only can you sell them a membership so that they can get affordable access to all the other legal services, right, that are out there in that particular plan, but now you have this as a contact. It's actually one of your clients that you can maintain communication with and let them know about what areas. So when that situation that arises in life that you practice in, they may call you directly, because you've had this ongoing, you've been building the relationship with them over a period of time. To me, and I've seen attorneys implement these plans, and the income has even exceeded their general practice or whatever their practice is. So some of the other benefits to selling legal service plans, for one, it saves you a lot of time because you may not be able to dedicate. And I've had attorneys that try to implement kind of their own version of a legal service plan and create a subscription basis. And I'm going to give you a fair warning, having seen many attorneys try this, the problem is it's simply not scalable for most attorneys. Once you may create a monthly subscription program for your clients, but a couple of things are going to happen. For one is that perhaps they may use you more than you're able to provide them services. So once there's that lack of service provision, like we have very strict customer service guidelines on how and when our attorneys can respond to issues. They have to respond to a phone call within 4 business hours. They have to review a contract or a document within 3 business days. They have to write a letter or make a phone call on behalf of the member within 3 business days. They have to provide a comprehensive will within 10 business days. So we have these strict customer service guidelines, and one solo practicing attorney or a small firm just may not have the time to be able to handle the memberships. And then let's just say there's going to be a cap where you're going to reach where you're going to have so many members, and then now you're working around the clock. So to me, leveraging an existing company that's already got decades of experience under the belt will save you a lot of time and headaches. Again, as I mentioned in the last slide, you get to keep the member as a client. So just because you may not be able to help them now, you may be able to help them or somebody they know later on down the line. And so you can throw them into your customer relationship management tool, keep them informed about what you have going on and so on and so forth. And I know a lot of attorneys in particular have set up kind of a COVID-19 resource center where they're keeping people abreast of things as they change, as it relates to their particular area of law. And for one is that, and a lot of attorneys that really express interest in this is because of the long-term passive residual book of business. Now, what I just said may have gone way over your head, because when I first looked at this, I had no idea what this meant. Understand is that for most of you, there may come a day, and it may not be now, it may not even be 10 years from now, but there may come a time where you want to leave your practice. You may want to quit being an attorney. Just like me, I was in the Army for 11 years. At about the 10-year mark, I just said, you know what, I'm done. I'm going to get out of the military. This may come to you someday, whether it does or not, I have no idea. I'm not going to make any judgments. But the challenge is that what do you transition to when you leave your practice? What this does for attorneys is it allows, because what happens is that when you're selling a legal service plan, you get paid a commission off of that sale. And then as those members continue to pay their membership month after month, you're going to continue to get a percentage of the monthly premium off of all of those memberships that you've written. And this is, in some cases, how I've seen attorneys over the course of 5, 10, 15, 20 years have built up a book of business that's paying them a 6-figure income whether they work or not, because you're going to continue to get paid off the lifetime of that business, right? And I'm not going to make any income claims and highlight any individual cases, because as it is for everybody, this is case-by-case basis. But that opportunity is available to you when you align yourself with a legal service plan company. For one, and this also, what I think a lot of attorneys will appreciate, it keeps your family and friends from asking you legal questions. And I'm sure you love to help them answer as many questions as possible, but wouldn't it be better or simple to just direct them to a legal service plan? They sign up, you get paid, and then other attorneys answer their questions. To me, I think that's an incredible benefit in that alone. And for whenever you're talking to, because I do a lot of presentations in law schools, this can also provide a way to generate income while in law school or waiting on your license. So there's no reason. I know that law school is extremely expensive, and they've accumulated a massive debt probably by the end of that. And so that's why attorneys have to charge the high hourly rates to, in the marketplace in order to maintain a certain quality of life. So what if we could help pay law students where they could go out and sell legal service plans while they're in law school? Now they're building up this book of business while they move into solo practice, small firm, or even large firm. So I wanted to highlight some of the resources. For one is an article that I didn't share with you, but it's a great one today from an attorney working with legal service plan companies. So if you want to take a screenshot of this right here, because we can't do this in person. So from lawpracticetoday.org, that's a great article talking about how legal service plans deliver wider access to the justice system. And then we have the Colorado Bar. A lot of people like to cite what I talked about, where it stands as regulations to the Colorado Bar. And then, of course, the American Bar Association's website. And that's a link that talks also about legal service plans, making sure, because I want you to understand is that there's no ethics violation in aligning with this and getting paid by a legal service plan company. So really what I was passionate about is that I mentioned that I'm a social activist. I get out in the communities a lot, and I talk to, I work with the homeless, I work with, victims of abuse, so on and so forth, and in particular the veterans organizations. And one of the things that I saw when I went to the Veterans Affairs office is that they didn't really have a strong legal resource for veterans inside the veterans communities. Now, I know, and I applaud all the attorneys that step in and provide pro bono services. I know we have, our law day, May 1st every year, where, the collective state bars all get together and they pay and have attorneys go into a room just to field legal questions. And I am in so much appreciation for that. But even legal advice, and that's just one day a year though. Free legal services or even discounted legal services to a point are going to be limiting, because even though, and you recognize this, that even though somebody has legal advice, sometimes they need a little legal muscle behind it, requiring a phone call or a letter on your behalf or a document review and so on and so forth. And that's just not something that a lot of attorneys are able to do. So providing them with this resource, that's why I feel like I'm truly empowering individuals, families, business owners, employees of those businesses with affordable access to quality legal representation. And yes, sometimes I see cases that fall outside of what a legal service plan can provide, and I'll refer directly to an attorney that specializes in that particular area of law in that particular state that they're appropriately licensed. So As we wrap up, that concludes my presentation. So I definitely would love to connect with you. We don't have the benefit of a live audience here. So I want to make sure that if you have any questions, I want to make sure that you get the information that you need to make an informed decision about whether or not this is something that you want to implement in your business. And so you can go and find me on LinkedIn. You can see it right there. Again, take another screenshot if you'd like at Chris Ward Legal Shield. You can also find me on Facebook. My Facebook business page is Chris Ward Legal Shield Associate. You can email me at cmward@legalshieldassociate.com. And of course, you're always welcome to give me a call at my office line at 720-449-1170. And I am so grateful that you took the time out to sit in on this. I hope that you find this a benefit, and please share anything. If you had never heard of legal service plans before, share with me, what you like best about what you saw. I appreciate that. And with that, I want to thank you, and you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye.